All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty wild. It's a theory from the writings of Lifechanyuan, and it suggests that your spiritual journey, it's not just some metaphor. Nope, it's a real physical process happening right down to the level of your atoms, connecting every thought you have and every action you take to the very fabric of who you are. So let's just jump right in with the big question this theory throws at us. What if who you are isn't some fixed thing? What if your evolution is happening right here, right now, with every single choice you make? Okay, so let's get into the first major idea here, a whole new theory of life. And the core concept? Well, it's that our physical body, it's really just a shell. According to this worldview, our real self is something much, much deeper, something non-physical. Okay, so here's the definition everything else hinges on. According to this text, life, with a capital L-I-F-E, isn't your body. It's a non-material structure. And here's the kicker. Its evolution doesn't happen in big, obvious ways. It's all happening at a microscopic level through tiny changes in your atoms. So the argument goes something like this. We can't see these microscopic differences, but they are what truly mark where we are on our evolutionary journey. You know, you can't just look at someone and judge their spiritual development, because the real action is happening subatomically. And the source actually points to those mysterious relics left behind by some monks as like physical proof of this incredible internal change. So if this evolution is happening at a microscopic level, how in the world does it actually work? Well, this is where things get really, really specific. The theory lays out a whole mechanism that's driven by, well, the tiniest particles that make us up. So apparently, our microscopic structure is always changing. It's constantly being pushed and pulled by two kinds of forces. You've got internal forces, right? Your thoughts, your emotions. And then you have external forces. Sunlight, sound waves, you name it. They're all shaping us, all the time. And check this out. They break down exactly how it's supposed to work in 5 steps. So it all starts with some kind of force acting on you. Could be a feeling like joy or something physical like the sun. Step 2, that force makes your atoms either gain or lose electrons. Step 3, this whole electron shuffle leads to molecules rearranging themselves. And that tiny change, step 4, alters that invisible life structure we talked about. And boom, step 5, that's it. That's the evolution of life, happening moment to moment. Okay, this is a super important point. According to the source, every single human starts with a specific baseline number. Our non-material structure, our soul, if you will, is said to have exactly 100 electrons. That's our starting point. And that number, 100, is the foundation for our entire journey. Right? So that number, 100, it's not just random. It becomes the foundation for this whole system of like spiritual leveling up or leveling down. You can almost think of it like a spiritual bank account. And the currency? It's electrons. So let's look at how you ascend in this system. The text says that if you can gain another 900 electrons on top of your starting 100, you hit a total of 1,000. And at that point, you've basically completed the human level. When you die, you're reborn as what they call a celestial being. But, of course, it's not all about moving up. This whole system works in reverse, too. And the theory gets super specific about the kinds of actions that can actually cost you electrons, sending you down a path of, well, spiritual devolution. And man, when I say detailed, I mean it. It's like a direct karmic ledger with exact electron penalties for certain actions. And just look at the range here. You've got big stuff like polluting spirituality, which costs you 6 electrons, all the way down to something personal like being envious, which still docks you 1 electron. It's all being counted. So in the example given in the text, if someone does all those negative things we just saw, they lose 19 electrons. That takes their count from 100 down to 81. Now, get this. That puts them just 1 single electron away from the structure of a dog, which is apparently set at 80 electrons. And this whole electron mechanism is used to explain things like accidents or sudden deaths. It's not seen as random at all. Instead, it's the exact moment a person's electron count crosses the line into a new life structure, and poof, they have to transition immediately. Okay, so this whole system of karmic math doesn't just apply to individuals. The theory scales this whole thing up to the entire planet.
It argues that our collective actions are throwing everything into a massive imbalance, and that has some really serious consequences for all of us.
Here's how it works on a global scale. The theory says that when humans kill animals, those animals gain merit, and then they get reincarnated as humans. So what happens? The human population explodes, and the animal population just nosedives. And this creates a huge problem because it's pretty much a one-way street. See, animals are becoming humans, but not enough humans are devolving back into animals to keep things balanced. So the animal kingdom isn't getting replenished, the planet's ecological balance gets totally wrecked, and this puts all of humanity on a collision course with what the text calls the greatest calamity. So, with this massive crisis on the horizon, the text doesn't just leave us hanging. It actually lays out 3 possible ways this whole thing could play out. 3 ways to restore the balance. And these solutions are pretty intense. Okay, solution 1, a huge chunk of humanity evolves to a higher spiritual plane, which naturally lowers the population on Earth. Solution 2, we all have a collective self-awakening, we control our population, protect animals, and this is wild. Some people are forcibly reincarnated as animals to fix the numbers. And then there's solution 3, the grim one. If the first 2 don't happen, well, nature takes its course with plagues, wars, and famines to wipe out a part of humanity. But wait, there's more. The source also throws in a final, quote, special solution, and it quotes these really apocalyptic warnings from figures like Jesus and Sakyamuni, talking about the sun going dark. You know, a full-on end-of-the-world scenario.
When you boil it all down, the whole point of this text, it says, is to be a wake-up call. It claims that this knowledge coming out now is basically humanity's last chance to get it, to understand how things work and to change course before it's too late. And the author ends with this incredibly direct challenge to, well, everyone. It's basically saying, hey, scientists, philosophers, leaders, here it is. This is how the universe works. You're all welcome to argue with me, prove me wrong, but then it ends with this really chilling line. If you do not agree, fine. Just continue to carry on in your old lifestyles. Basically, ignore this at your own risk. So that's what we're left with. This incredibly complex worldview, right? A system that connects your personal choices directly to your atomic makeup and our collective actions to the fate of the whole planet. And it all comes down to that final question. Is this just a really fascinating, out there theory of life? Or could it be some kind of blueprint for what's to come? Ultimately, that's a question you have to answer for yourself.